Please. Everybody still awake? Everybody still there?
Still here. We got 15 people tuned in already. Let's go do the intro so I can
Welcome to the San Antonio SAFC Fancast. My name is Royce. I'll be your host today. I'll co-host with my partner in I don't know, crime. Sure, crime. Harry.
Hey, if we're
how are you?
We're above the law, but that's a whole separate discussion.
That's fair. Whoever you want to be king, we can have him king. We can go back to King George. Like Independence Day is in 2 days or 3 days, and we're gonna go ahead and say, oh yeah, all that the last 200 years, it was a fluke.
Don't worry about it.
We're gonna go back to kings. It's fine. You're fine.
So
anyway, we're joined by. Go ahead.
Gonna put this warning out here. This is probably not a kid-friendly show. Ding, ding, ding. I don't know if anybody heard that, but this is probably not a kid-friendly show. I will probably not.
Sorry.
Well, good defense by Reem. Not be PG on certain topics of this show. So we'll have the explicit rating on here. I know Matt's got some things he wants to get off his chest. Royce, I think, has some things he wants to get off his chest. Rafa is always the class act, so we'll have to see how he plays it. Jonathan, Mr. Media, we'll try to bring the niceness of it, he said, for it here. But I'm looking forward to it. Do you want to do the transactions, Royce, or do you want me to just do them real quick?
I want to introduce the rest of the crowd we have on the show. The
I
rest
don't.
of our members. Oh, I mean, fair. It's crotchety
screw you
Harry.
too, Harry.
That's what we're gonna get. Is crotchety Harry. Also joining us, as mentioned previously, Rafa. Rafa, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I got to sneeze and it won't come out. I'm sorry. That's on me. That's
the allergies.
Hand up accountability. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Well, we just got back from the coast, so I get all the nice allergies that are in San Antonio coming back to me after a nice, almost week of just a nice sea breeze. Anyway, also joining us, as you heard, Jonathan Sheck of Blue Moon Rising. Jonathan, how are you?
Doing all right. I feel like I'm kind of becoming a broken record at this point because we keep having to take a few weeks off between shows. But
So you're
good
Coach
to be back.
Marcina?
Something
You're
about
the Coach
Marcina? What?
Marcina of the show, a broken record, man.
Wow.
All right. So Harry is already firing off some hot takes. Anyway, just plenty to talk about tonight. We'll see how this turns out.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Also joining us, Matthew, president, CEO, founder of FTC Day San Antonio.
Co-founder.
Matthew, how are you?
Rafa is also we're co-founders, but great. They're doing great. I'm trying to give good vibes to USA. Not really. I'm totally doing this for reverse.
I was going to say it's a complete opposite.
It's a complete fucking opposite, man.
I just want to say, you do know you're a worldwide broadcast wearing an American Outlaws shirt. So next time that we call you a U.S. men's national team fan,
the call's coming from inside the house.
We've got pictures of you at a U.S. men's national team pregame event. Now we got you an American Outlaw. I don't even know an American Outlaw shop.
You're wearing the shirt. You're wearing the shirt because you're giving them awful.
Look, I will say this: if I have to pick USA, I will pick USA. But because Mexico's out, not this time. But I'm doing great, guys.
It'd be like Jonathan Sheck in a Man U shirt. Come on.
Not pretty much. But like I said, doing great. Can't wait to discuss everything. Like Harry said, there's a lot we got to get off our chest. And let's just see how this goes.
Yeah, I'm watching the U.S. get fouled and Uruguay get the calls. So, hey, everything's pretty much ship shape in that match.
Game too.
So let's move on. Let's hit up the transactions that we've had so far. Big surprise. The Uruguay player that did not get fouled is still on the ground for supposedly being fouled. Let's talk transactions. We've had two since our last show. We have not gone over Lavaca yet, correct?
I thought you guys did Lavaca.
Did we do Lavaca? Okay, I know one of them is Nelson.
Oh no, we didn't. Okay,
I didn't think. Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah,
so
the two new ones. No, we didn't do.
Well, dang. Well,
Jonathan, you're on mute.
The pregame show.
Jonathan,
thing.
There you go.
I literally listened to our last episode earlier today, and because we had done it a day or two after his signing, we did talk about Lacava.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, sure. I'm getting deja vu like we have. We're off to a hot start, by the way.
Multi-year deal, which I like.
Multi-year
forward. At the time, we're like, why did we get another forward? Now I guess we kind of know now. I've liked him. Like I said here, I think multi-year deal. I believe it was June 3rd that he came in, if memory serves me right. So he's been here for almost a month.
Checks out. I think he settled in pretty well. Coming along, playing well off of Hernandez and Agudelo. I think the offense is not an issue right now. I think we have other issues, but we'll go into that later. The other signing we have is Nelson Flores Blanco on a transfer from Charleston Battery. He is a left wing back. He's been pretty darn good as well. He's really changed our formation and how spread out we can be, and it's really improved our attack. And in that, it's kind of improved our defense a little bit. There's not as much pressure on the midfield.
Multi-year deal too.
Also multi-year deal, also big deal, which says a lot about certain players that are, we'll go into that later. So I like that deal. I like both deals that have happened. We'll carry on. Jonathan, do you have any updates or any thoughts on those two signings?
I don't know if we ever really got to. I mean, like I said, we did discuss LaCava on the last show, but something interesting that Marcina has met. In fact, you know what? No, this was from, I think, after the El Paso game, so I know it has not been put here on the podcast yet. Marcina has mentioned he had been trying to get LaCava a couple times in the past, at least twice, and so I'm sure he's thrilled to finally have him on a multi-year deal. But beyond that, no, nothing else really interesting or different to contribute other than what you guys have had.
All right, fair enough. Any other transactions, Harry, or
Jose Mulatto, loan deal terminated. Well, it was announced on June 27th. We got notice that he was going to be going back to FC Dallas and then immediately transferred to Serbian Superliga. Was it Sparta Sabotka, something like that here?
Sabotka, yeah.
For Jose, 9 games, 1 start, 234 minutes, no goals, no assists, no foul, he may have had fouls, no cards. Hope he had a good time, but I don't know if he didn't leave an impression with me. I'll just leave it at that. Like, I didn't think he had the talent to play with SanAntonio FC. I understand why FC Dallas moved him, because he was part of the U22 initiative and taking up a foreign roster slot for them. And if he's not performing in USL Championship, pretty sure he's not going to be performing in MLS unless he's on the Houston Dynamo, where he'd be their starter. But outside of that,
isn't the Dynamo actually doing well this year too?
They are the best team in Texas right now. Yes. 100%.
Come on, Harry. We're about facts on this show. Come on, don't you know that?
Jonathan, we're not about facts in this country. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my God. The joke over your head.
So anyway, no, I get it. I'm also trying to throw shade because I'm not happy. Anyway, with I'm with the government. Who's happy with the government? Who is happy?
Nobody's happy with the government.
Nobody is. Continuing on.
Coach Conwith, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah. Checks out. Yeah, we are out of shape. We're out of practice on this podcast tonight. So let's get it together. Let's get organized, get our thoughts organized. Next step, Mulatto, thanks for your time, thanks for your effort and your sweat out there. I don't think he really got the chance to start. He never really got any consistent playing time, and that's really what it takes at this level is a lot of consistency. So it is what it is. Thanks for joining. Good luck. And is he in Serbia? He's going to be in Serbia, yep. Right? So Good luck in the Serbian Superliga.
And then the last thing on transactions, international call-ups, and I believe he's already coming back. Kevon Lambert he was on with Team Jamaica for their 3 Copa America matches, but he was on the bench. So hopefully he comes back this week. He should be well rested for that here. So congrats to Kevon. Tough break for Copa America for Jamaica. And today I believe they let go of their coach, or their coach resigned, mutual decision.
Their coach
however you want.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty sure it was a hey, you either go on your own or you're gonna go. So yeah, fair enough. Oh, and this game is just anyway, continuing on. So that'll do it for the transactions. Do we have SAFC alumni news, Harry?
I didn't cover anything up. I know Taney got called up. I don't think he played. To me, I think
he did. Taney got minutes in Copa America.
Oh, that's right. I saw him. He did.
He absolutely did. Dane St. Clair did not. Maxine Grappeau was pretty darn good for Canada. Well, they advanced. So why am I saying was? They're still in it. So
Couldn't
They
have
are
him with
still in it.
USA, but he's doing all right with Canada.
But yeah, Tanny's done okay. He had a really nice chance trying to meg the keeper, and the keeper closed his legs, just didn't convert on that. Not gonna happen. And then more news. This is a more interesting one. Big Sam Adeniran, and St. Louis FC City FC United, whatever they call themselves, very silly team name, are on the outs, and apparently Big Sam is getting a transfer somewhere. Where? Who knows?
Maybe.
I honestly don't know. Go ahead.
St. Louis City fired their coach today,
They also did that as well.
so that might change the dynamics. But
Yeah, he was back at practice today, right? There was a video of him. He was back at practice.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
So
he was
so
back at
big
practice.
so Big Sam went to who's the German dude that's there?
It was,
their
I
general
forget the
manager.
assistant coach.
Plus,
No, it's a guy that was with Bayern Munich for a while.
no.
Anyway, I guess he went up to him, was like, it's either me or the coach, and was like, okay, well, the coach, goodbye, see ya. So very funny. So we'll see how everything turns out from that.
And somehow Wolf up in Austin still has his job. So
I'm not mad at it. Sure, why not? So anyway, I believe that's all we have for the alumni segment. Trying to think.
this comment's for you, Royce. Sorry, boys, that was meant for the absolute inept officiating happening right now from the International Space Station.
Yeah, no, that's to be honest, Coach Cano, it could really be for both. I don't know what this ref is doing either. There was a yellow card offense that he gave a yellow for the US and let Uruguay take the free kick immediately, and they got a really clear chance that Tim Bree made a really nice block on.
Mm-hmm.
And then 5 minutes after that, happened right now, Uruguay had a handball right outside of the US box, and Pulisic was on a break going around. It was 1-on-1, and the ref called it back to take the free kick back. So he's very inconsistent, to say the least, in this match. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully the inconsistency starts turning around, and Uruguay, for some reason, that's probably going to be a goal right here. Good block.
Feel my pain.
So feel SAFC fans' pain, because that's, yeah. Anyway, so that's a nice little transition into this past Saturday's match. Harry, take it away.
So I don't have a lot of notes because I don't really want to delve into it a lot. I guess I'm probably ignoring it because the game started out shitty with a goal in the first minute. It was an own goal. And, they put it on Tainer. It really wasn't on Tainer. Unfortunately, our defense, Shannon got, I thought slipped. Rafa says he got kind of pushed off the ball. New Mexico took advantage, scored, a minute and 10 seconds in, something crazy like that.
It went off Tainer's foot.
SanAntonio FC fought back right before half. Got two quick goals by Royce's team MVP, Juan Agudelo. Royce pre-match said that Agudelo was going to get a hat trick, and we'll just say that a lot of us are not Agudelo fans. We'll just leave it at that. I'll own that. We pretty much laughed at him, but he had two goals at the half and a really good opportunity for a hat trick, but he didn't convert it. Got a gift red card, I guess. Some people say it's a penalty. Some people, the second yellow red card for diving in the box for the New Mexico player. And
yeah, I'll say real quick. I'll take it from just real quick. I was watching the broadcast. I was at the beach. But we were watching the broadcast, and Katie and Dan both were in agreement that it should have probably been a penalty rather than simulation yellow. So whenever they showed the replay from the front, it looked bad, but the one that they showed from behind, it looked like there was separation, and it looked like it was a pretty clear dive from the ref's point of view. So, and that's a rare call that has gone for us. So I'm not going to argue it at all. So,
but did it go for us? Because as soon as it happened, and Rafa can attest to this, I was like, crap, we're up a man. That's not a good thing with San Antonio FC. And San Antonio FC does what they do when they get up a man. They sat back, and New Mexico just pounded, got a goal right before half, and then got a goal. Got a penalty, well-earned penalty, and he converted it, Greg Hurst, in the 51st minute. And then they sat back and defended and packed it in, and well, we know the story. San Antonio FC up a man. I put on Twitter, if you watch the game, who was down a man, and it sure was. It felt like San Antonio, but
yeah, that was tough.
I don't know. It just, to me, this was a microcosm of the season, and that's why we want to kind of get into the after the break here, we're going to kind of discuss the midseason, kind of talk about where we're at, and then kind of talk about grades for front office, technical staff, which is Coach Marcina, players, and game day experience, aka Toyota Field, through here. But we'll go around the horn, starting with you, Rafa, and then Matt, then Jonathan, and end with Royce. As far as their thoughts on the game, anything that stood out, or actually we should end with Jonathan for the post game thoughts and stuff from Coach Marcina. Or do you guys want Jonathan to lead with that, or do you want to with him to end? I'll leave that up to you guys. Sure.
So I think Jonathan should lead, but real quick, we'd be failed to mention that this is unfortunately we are on a disturbing losing streak. I believe we're setting a franchise record of a losing streak currently. I believe it's 5. Yeah. So not good form going into ending the first half of the season. We're getting healthy, which is good. We're not healthy enough. What's really going to help this weekend is to get Kevin back from the Jamaican national team and to get that midfield going. That's been a real issue. I mean, this entire season is the midfield, especially defensive midfield. We've had Jorge Hernandez play as a 6 a couple times. And in this match, it was Burra as a 6, Jorge Hernandez, and Chol. No, it was Chol, it was Hackinson, and Burra as the midfield. You're not going to win a lot of games with that. That just shows lack of depth. So hopefully we get some of that depth back and we can capitalize on that. But Jonathan, take it away. I'll let you do your ditty about from this past match.
Yeah. So first of all, I think it's kind of funny that you guys were talking about, who would have, if you watched that match, who do you think was the team down a goal? That is something that I believe it was Juan Agudelo mentioned after the match. Is we didn't look like the team that was up a man. We didn't have urgency. That was something that he brought up a few times, is just not having the urgency, even when they went down a man. Down a goal, obviously. Like, you've got almost the entire second half there where you've got a man advantage. You need to break a team down. And he was saying the urgency just was not there. We maybe kind of just assumed that, okay, we've got a man advantage. Even when we go down a goal, like, we'll be able to get it back. Obviously, we've got the extra player. And we've seen time and time again, SAFC just does not have what it takes to break those teams down for whatever reason, especially over the last sort of year or two. As far as other recurring themes from the post-game interviews, it was something Kendall McIntosh brought up that I thought was kind of interesting, was how for a few matches there, the offense just was not firing. And then finally, although it was only Juan Agudelo, and although, you can maybe argue he could have scored more, or other players could have scored more, SAFC did score multiple goals for the first time in almost 2 months. So the offense kind of started to sputter back to life. But he also went on to say, then at the other end of the field, they didn't hold up their end of the bargain. Usually when you score 2 goals, you should be able to at least get some sort of result. They weren't able to, because you can see, obviously, the penalty. You have the slip, just 65, 70 seconds in, that really sets the tone. So you just, it's just so weird. And also, for what it's worth, SAFC had not conceded 3 goals in a match until these last 2 matches. So that's not great for the defense right now. And then also, particularly from Marcina, it was a mixture of some of the discussion of, well, we need to be better, and we should have converted our chances, that kind of thing, that we've heard for months and honestly years going back. But also, it was some of the discussion of, well, the things we've had to deal with. But as you start getting players back from injury, that becomes less of an excuse. So we'll see how the narrative shifts going forward as we go into the second half of the season. And otherwise, I think that's pretty much the cliff notes or spark notes of post-game interviews.
Can I ask you a question on that, Jonathan? In the demeanor of Coach Marcina on the sideline, he seemed a little bit more reserved than normal. Did you kind of get that feeling in post game as well, or is that just? I know I'm not close to the side; I'm on the other side of the field, but just every time that I looked over to there, he just seemed more reserved. I'll just leave it at that. For the hair, and when we do our grades on the coaching, I may delve into a little bit more. But just kind of your perception in the media room, because Coach Marcina has a perception, in my opinion, of being a little bit fiery, a little bit, being fiery type of coach. And I've noticed recently, it's more just throwing the hands up, rolling the eyes type of thing, as opposed to getting on the team. But you're in there, when you can, with in the media. Just what's kind of the feel in the media room around Coach Marcina, if you can share that?
Yeah, I mean, after the match, it didn't really feel too different to me. It was one of those matches where he does pin some of the blame on them and the players, because, like we've said, they were up a man. They should have made that count more. They had missed chances. I mean, even before Agudelo got the goal, I know I personally was thinking, they've got the chances here. They should at least be level here, and then they finally did get them. But then things unravel defensively after that. But it didn't really feel any different post game for me. I will say, when we go to trainings, though, and this is something that me and a couple of the other reporters have discussed, is this is an oddly positive team for where they're at, for the results they've been getting. I mean, sure, you can maybe pick bright spots here and there. You can make some valid excuses about the injuries and stuff like that, but there is perhaps an unjustified amount of positivity for where they're at right now. And they do kind of, I don't know if I'd say deflect, but they just kind of brush aside the negativity and all that. It feels like to me. So it's kind of gotten us to start questioning, okay, when do we actually go ahead and start calling them out on this? When do we say, okay, you can be positive all you want, but it's the second half of the season, you're sitting a few points out of a playoff spot, you've had this many matches without a win. Cut the crap, honestly. I don't want to be the one to get us the explicit warning, but
I'll get us there. Don't worry about that, man. I got you covered.
Yeah. I'll leave that to you later then. But yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of come out of interviews and you're like, this team is sitting second from the bottom. They've lost 4 in a row at the time when we did training interviews, and now 5 after Saturday's match against New Mexico. They don't exactly, the positivity just doesn't feel right. And I will say something, in the past, particularly, I know I've mentioned SAFC missing chances. That's something that has been an issue in the past, and we've asked Alan Marcina about it, and he would always say, I have confidence that later in the season we'll figure it out. We'll start scoring again, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And even just the general idea of turning things around, I don't know. It's not looking too good at the moment, but we're only halfway through the season. I mean, glass half full, glass half empty. We'll see how it turns out, I suppose.
Matt, and then Rafa, and then end up with Royce.
What can you say about the game? I mean, I think John kind of said it best there. I think we're like 0-5 when we're up a man. I think that's somebody mentioned 0-5, 0-6, or 0-7. That's the record SAFC, something around there. I think, you can tell you're up a man, you have to be. I think we notice every game we're up a man, we don't play aggressive. I don't think we've ever played aggressive. I think maybe in 2 years that we kind of blitzkrieg teams and take advantage of that. But you can tell as far as the play, there are some focus or some not focused, and it's kind of killing the chemistry a bit. And I think, Harry, like you mentioned, when we take a look at Marcina, he kind of looks checked out, like he's just not comfortable. Like he doesn't have the same fire he's had maybe, even up to last season. It's just not like something's missing. So that's kind of my take of this game. It's just inexcusable to be up a man and give up, which could have real 3 points that we really do need.
I went through. So this is SanAntonio FC up a man, and I didn't plan on being here, but 20. So for this year, Loudon in the 29th minute, it was 1-1. We ended up drawing 2-2, and Loudon got a goal at 90+4. Away at Memphis, we got one in the 81st minute. We were already up 1-0. We ended up winning 1-0. Of course, this match here, 39th minute, we were winning 2-1 at the time. New Mexico scored in the 44th, 51, ended up losing that. Going back to last year for that here, Loudon, another one, draw, but it was at 90+1, so not really fair. Phoenix, 56th minute. However, they converted a PK at the 58th. So to me, it was really kind of 1-1. It stayed 1-1. Of course, there's the Miami game where they're down 1-0. They got the red card in the 10th minute, so 80 minutes, and they lost 1-0. Away against Phoenix, they got a red card in the 13th. They ended up getting a 2-1 win. Orange County away, 55th minute, they were losing 1-0. They lost 1-0. And then home against Indy, 61st minute, they were losing 2-3. SAFC equalized in the 88th minute. So really, when you look at it here, the Indy match in 2023, and I guess you could say the Phoenix match, because they did, equalize in that. But the others, you got to question the results.
Okay.
Matt?
Yeah, back to Matt.
I mean, to me, the game was very exciting. I'm not gonna lie. For a good while, for me not wanting to be there, it was a very exciting game, and I really enjoyed it. It kept me on my toes. I felt a little bit of passion going into it, and just once you saw the red card and you already know the history, it just, you start to worry. Everything just flushes out, and you just started to worry. So I don't know much more to say to that, but great game, great effort. I think they put in a lot of effort, that from what I saw, but everybody has their own take on this game.
Royce?
On to me. Okay. Man, it's just one of those things, right? It just seems like this team, which is ironic because the last two times we've really played in a low block, and it's been really difficult for a lot of teams to break down our low block. It really seems like now that we're trying this possession type style, it's really tough for us to break down a low block. And that's pretty much what all teams do when they go down a player. We've really got to figure that out. We've got to get the intensity up a bit, get a lot more 1-2s. We really need to work on breaking down the low block. We need to work on that. It's very obvious. And where that really comes from is a good midfield. And unfortunately, due to injuries, due to international duty, we haven't had a consistent midfield. This weekend, we're going to get Kevin back. And like I said, in this past match, we had Burra, we had Hackinson, and Chol. That was our midfield. Those are 2 attackers in the midfield as number 8s, basically. It's going to be really tough to break anybody down or lock anything down with that. So hopefully with the addition of Kevin, we'll have Burra there, probably Hernandez at the tip. We'll see if we do the 4-3-3 again. That was an interesting little twist in the New Mexico game, as a kind of switch it up. Instead of a back 3, we had a back 4. We'll see. Man, the talent's there. We know in the past the coaching's there. We'll see if the effort's going to be there. That's kind of what it comes down to, and if the tactical nous and know-how is there. So going on, we'll see. But in this match, it just first half was fine. The own goal was very unlucky. Their second goal was poorly defended, and their third goal was just silly on our part. So we scored 2 nice goals. Probably should have had more. We've got to do better. We need better results. We need to see a better product on the field from everybody.
All right, so we're gonna do a quick minute break. If you're watching this, or if you can, check out YouTube, give a like, subscribe, review. Also, you'll see the information for Moments by Raz, who does a great job. Cameras on the field and photos off the field. But we'll be right back here in 57 seconds. And welcome back. And we're just going to do a quick, since we're doing the midseason at this point here, this is the standings. Out west, New Mexico United, 10 wins, 1 draw, 4 losses, 31 points. Sac Republic's kind of doing what we did last year, 7 wins, 7 draws, 2 losses only, 28 points, but they're dealing with a lot of injuries for it as well here and through there. Oakland Roots, Memphis, Colorado Springs, Monterey Bay, Phoenix, who just fired their coach, and Vegas round out the top 8, which would be playoff bound. Orange County, Tulsa, although Tulsa's a little deceiving because they're, I think, 3 games below everybody else's games played. And then Texas, San Antonio, 4-5-8, 17 points. El Paso, 3-3-11, 12 points, and one of their wins was against us. So, yay. Out east, Louisville, Charleston, Indy, Tampa Bay, Detroit, Birmingham. Loudoun, I guess, is a surprise. North Carolina, Rhode Island starting to warm up. Hartford, Pittsburgh's probably the San Antonio of the East as far as a disappointment. And the Miami FC, we knew it was going to be a long year, but they've already got 13 losses compared to El Paso at 11 for that here. So for San Antonio, 4 wins, 5 draws, 8 losses, -4 goal difference. Currently on a 5-game losing streak. Their last 10, just 1 win, 2 draws, 7 losses. Top scorer, Juan Agudelo with 5 and 2 assists. Jorge Hernandez, 1 goal, 6 assists. To me, surprisingly, that I don't think a lot of people realize, 4 academy kids, Garza, Walker, Fernandez, Padilla, have received first team USL championship minutes. So not Open Cup, but first team played in through here. Kind of the transaction wise, lost Abu and Patino right at the start of the season. Jose Mulatto, which we talked about at the top of the show more recently. And then since the season started, we brought in Mekshop Chol, a forward, Lacava, a forward, and Flores Blanco, defender for that here. So obviously 11th out of 12th, not where anybody thought we would be. To me, I feel like this team's it's underperformed. It's very unlucky. A lot of injuries again, which raises some questions. And what changes? I guess that's the question: is what changes? Because if you go back to, well, actually, I'll save that for when we do the grades here. So, just kind of the recap at the midseason. We'll go to you, Jonathan, as far as kind of your thoughts. From a media perspective. I know you kind of already talked about it a little bit on after the New Mexico game here, but just kind of your view from sitting up on the media row about SAFC at midseason. I think we'd all agree the talent's there, but something's off, and Rafa Royce may be able to say, hey, this is what's off, more than I can, maybe more than Matt can, because I know we're more of the fan aspect of it. And not really the technical side. But we'll start with you from the media side, then we'll go to Matt, and then we'll end up with Rafa and Royce for that here, just to kind of get their views of what went right, what went wrong through here. And then after this, we'll go to the grades, where I'm sure the fireworks will start.
Yeah, I mean, my takes aren't even really going to be that sort of not really viewed through the lens of the media. I think they're takes that really any of us, or any SAFC fan or observer or what have you could have. Those standings are standings this year in USL Championship starting to look a lot like the 2021 MLS standings, with the Texas teams just anchored to the bottom. The good thing for SAFC is you're not going to be falling down to 12th until at least July 19th. You've got a couple opportunities to turn it around. But I think you mentioned luck. That is part of it. Sometimes it is just unlucky. You had, I think it was 2 shots against El Paso off the frame of the goal, another one in Tulsa. But it's also just individual errors in a lot of cases. And that was something else that Marcina in particular had mentioned after this last match. Individual errors led to those goals, but it hasn't necessarily been, he might mention it for a match here or there, but not always sort of what he brings up. Another thing is obviously the injuries. There have been times where SAFC doesn't even have enough to have a full 11, really. I mean, there are 1 or 2 maybe senior players on the bench, but if you play them, then you're really putting square pegs in round holes. So we'd see, for example, Jose Mulatto sitting on the bench when you have 1 or 2 of the academy kids starting, playing, all of that. So it really has been a very thin squad. And we know the way SAFC style is, the pressing they like to do, it's going to be a style that really drains you a lot. So it's just such a weird. And the crazy thing is, I don't know if you don't have. Oh yeah, you do have the points here. So I mean, the West is really tight. All SAFC needs are a couple of results, and suddenly you've got some momentum. You're moving up the standings again. It's a nice hypothetical, but until it actually happens, it's just that. It's a hypothetical. You're below the playoff line as things stand. Starting to look a little bit like the early years for SAFC. But like we mentioned, also just to end on some positive notes, Royce did mention the injury report got cut in half this last match. SAFC had 10 days off, and I think it was in May. They had 2 weeks off, and somehow they came back with more injuries than they left with before that break. So it was good to see them actually making progress on that front. So hopefully having a few more players will help give SAFC more options and also just relieve some of the pressure on the team, who, the starters, the guys who are getting a lot of minutes. And also, Agudelo was saying on Saturday that he was really feeling it that night. He scored 2 goals. That was SAFC's first brace of the year. Again, only a what if, or a possibility, but if he's able to maybe get some form, that will help SAFC a lot if they can now rely on someone to do the goal scoring. I think that's pretty much all I have to say.
Go back.
I mean, to my ability, to what I could say, I mean, I don't know where these guys. I know we're supposed to be mentality monsters still. I don't even know if we should be using that anymore, because I feel
no, please don't disrespect us like that.
I feel like there's no heart in this anymore. I feel like we're just playing just to win now. We're not playing for the actual game. And I think it's like, shocker, Agudelo got almost a hat trick. And obviously me and others are not a big fan, but I mean, someone has to bring it up. Somebody has to give these guys a kick in the ass and say, hey, we need to start winning, guys. Like, but I guess best words to say is hopefully we get over this hump and hopefully somebody gets the spark, because this literally feels like the first stages of when SAFC was starting to play. But at that time we were just happy to see them play. But now a lot of fans have expectations, and we want these guys to do better, and we want these guys to achieve. So we just have to see who's going to be that spark and who's going to be that person to get everybody in line. So
Matt,
I'll let it go to
pardon me, Rafa. Sorry.
I guess my take on this, you bring in a new sporting director, you bring in a new system, you bring in new players. I can understand maybe the growing pains of learning a new system, but when you don't improve your game each week and stay consistent or stay competitive, this is the end result. I can understand we lose tight. There's going to be some games that we lose tight ones, and hit ricochet off someone's foot. Fine. I think the efforts there, and like Matt mentioned about the mentality monster thing, I have a new slogan. It's called mediocre mentality. That's the slogan right now of this team. We're there. You can tell there's players playing for themselves, and there are players playing for the team. And indeed, they gotta have to figure something out. How do we get this together? How do we get on the same page? It takes maybe one or a couple wins maybe to build that confidence. But, you can tell from the players and to the staff, there's a lot of, you can say, not very comfortable. They're just going through the motions and they feel very checked out. And like I said, a lot of these mental mistakes we shouldn't be making. And I think the wheels started kind of turn on that, so, kind of looking at it from last year. And that's the thing that's also affected it, what we see now. So that's kind of my take on this, as far as the whole mentality monster right now. The slogan is that we're a mediocre mentality, and that has to change. The attitude has to change. You got to go out there, play your heart out. win or lose. But the thing is, go play with some balls. That's how I gotta say.
Royce, your view, SAFC at midseason, and then we'll transition to grades.
Yeah, man, it's been, I mean, in a word, disappointing. Disappointing in a lot of ways. Disappointing in injuries. Disappointing in availability. Disappointing in results. Disappointing in off the field decisions that the front office has made. It's just been disappointing, especially after, kind of after a championship and then a year where you come just short and you're trying to reload to make another run and things kind of fall apart in the off season. The response is just it just hasn't been there. We lost a lot of core guys that were SAFC obviously was counting on coming back. Abu was a big one. Maloney, don't discount Maloney retiring as a small deal. That's a big deal for us. And it's just been kind of tough. Disappointing and unlucky. Like you said, we've had a lot of chances that have really just gone begging, whether it was off a post or we've had a lot of chances go off post. It's been truly disappointing. We've scored goals, but we've let in a lot of goals, and that's the big difference. It's not the keeper's fault. I don't really want to blame the back line. I think the issue that we're having is the midfield. I think the midfield has been the worst part of our team in the first half of the season. And it's not the players. Most of it is the availability of the players and the lack of depth. I mean, like I said earlier, we've had Jorge Hernandez, top of the league 10. He is one of the best players in the league, our MVP by far. And we've had to play him as a 6, at a position as a 6. I don't think he's played as a 6 since probably he was a kid. That's not his position. And then in this past match, like I said, we had Hackinson, a right wing player, and we had Machop Chol, a striker. That was our midfield. And that's not the first time that's happened this season. We've had that happen time and time again because Lambert was unavailable. We've had injuries for, unavailability for injuries. We've had our fourth center back, Richard Winbickler, play as a 6 at a position. So it's really been the midfield. And that's been our pride and butter for the past, I don't know, since Marcina became a coach, really. Our midfield has been one of the best in the league. And right now it's just not, for either, like I said, injuries or international duties. So hopefully we get some health back. Hopefully we make a nice midfield signing. That would be great for the second half to make a really nice run. A really dependable 6 would be great. That would really free up Kevon Lambert to go forward. Burra, we've seen his striking capabilities. He can play as a really nice all-league 8. So we have the players there. We're just missing 1 or 2 pieces to really make a run at this thing. And this team can get really hot really fast. And like I've said from the beginning of the season, it's not how you start the season, it's how you end. But you got to starting it. So you got to starting it soon enough. That's pretty much all I got. Season's not over by a long shot. Long way to go. And hopefully we make a turn and we really make a run at this.
So we're going to move to the grades. We've broken this up into 4 sections. The front office, Marco Ferruzzi, technical staff, Alan Marcina, anybody else on the staff, the players, obviously self-explanatory, and then the game day experience. We're going to start with the front office, and I want to just kind of make sure. I know the front office has control of the game day, but I want to separate the front office side, with the player movements and stuff like that. Because the game day, I think, is it's a different part of the front office, and I know it's the same people, but I just want to kind of make sure that people understand up front when we're giving grades to the front office, it's more about, in my opinion, the players that they've brought in, the players that they've let go, what they did or didn't do, their availability of it here. I know for me, and I'll start this out here. I gave the front office a C. How many national players that we've got, how many have got called up? So the talent's here. Jake LaCava, Nelson Flores Blanco transferred in and given multi-year deals. To me, that's a big step for San Antonio FC to not only pay a transfer fee, most likely to Charleston and to North Carolina, but then also give the players a multi-year deal. To me, the negative, where is Marcos? Where is he? He's not visible to SAFC fans, especially season ticket members. And this may be a little bit unfair to him, but coming from Tim Holt, who was visible, who was amongst the friends, who you knew who was available out there, where is he? I don't even know what the guy looks like. I know Rafa and Matt, I believe Rafa can go into a little bit more details. But I know Marcos was going to an event for James at the Champions, or not Champions, but what's his club that he supports?
UCA.
UCA. He showed up, did a speech, and then just left, and without talking to anybody, is my understanding. Where is he? Like I said here, you are the new face of San Antonio FC. You're the Tim Holt. You're nowhere to be found. To me, transferring out Patino, I understand it's an opportunity for Patino, and if Patino asked out, that's one thing. But if it was something where San Antonio FC, to me, that set this season on a negative trend. And then third, why no 25-day contracts? You knew the team was struggling. You knew, or struggling with depth. Why not use those tools? So for me, I gave him a C because I really do think the talent that Marco was able to bring in is there. The question is, and the question is, where is it? And to me, my biggest negative, and this is probably just for me personally, is the negative. Now, Stuart was kind enough to give us his as well here. He gave him an F, and this is what he said. Where do I begin? Most of the complaints for the FO land in the game day experience section, so we'll discuss that later. But when people still think of the Scorpions and aren't aware we have a championship winning team, that's an issue, and this staff doesn't want to grow. So I think, and that's fair criticism of the front office and not marketing or expanding the base within San Antonio FC. Anybody want to comment on Stuart's points, or just we want to just leave it how it is, and then we'll move on to. Well, I guess we're already at an hour, so let's just move on. Matt, what's your grade?
I can go F, but I'm more on a D.
So you want to go D?
I'll go D because there's some work that I see them trying a little bit. Like we've talked before, The Rock, that was a big improvement to me. I feel like that's a big holster, but if we're talking their marketing, if we're talking about how they're getting people in, if we're talking about how to bring people in, that's my disconnection with them. That's my big like love choke to them of what the hell are you doing? Now, as far as them doing transactions to get people, players in, I give it to them. You're doing it, but look at how everything's going, and then it's, to me, they have potential. You have a good SSE behind you. Why aren't we using everything that we got to bring in our second pro team into the light? It's just like me and and I won't say their name. Me and another podcast were talking. What if we go downtown and ask 100 people, did you know about SanAntonio FC?
Crap. Uruguay just scored.
How many
After Bolivia just scored to give USA back into second position.
How many? Oh shit! How many people are gonna say, "Oh, I've heard of SanAntonio FC"? I feel like more people are gonna say, "Oh, Scorpions, they're still here, right?" And it comes down to even when I talk to my directors and my vice directors who know I'm adamant in the soccer culture, they still think the Scorpions are here, which tells you a lot. So, we have the tools. Fucking use them. Sorry, I'm gonna start it off. Fucking use them.
Jonathan Check, we'll let you go next.
For front office, I'll go ahead and go with a D as well. I think you did bring up some good points, Harry, about bringing in quality players and stuff like that. But at the same time, hearing you talk about
Uruguay's offside.
and
Sorry, Uruguay's offside. They need to review that. He's off. Go ahead, JC. I'm sorry.
this is why we should not do shows while watching a match.
That's 100% correct. But I mean, everyone's watching, so we got to go over the results.
I'm not,
Anyway,
I'm focused on this show. I mean, if you guys aren't, like, that's your poor decision.
okay. Apologies.
But anyway, no,
Wow, you just called out Royce like that? Wow.
I mean, you probably have it on too. Anyway,
I've got both games on.
yeah. So I will say though, the stuff you were saying about Marco Ferruzzi, you know, where is he? What does he look like? How does he act? You are not the first person I've heard saying those things. The fact that he's just been pretty much invisible. I mean, I think personally, I've run across him, met him once, and like you said, Tim Holt used to get out there. You know, he wasn't always. He didn't exactly have the highest visibility. He wasn't, you know, always mingling with the fans and stuff, but you would see him fairly often. And so for Ferruzzi to not really, we don't know what he's doing and all that. We haven't really heard from him, and it's just so strange. And there was a really good opportunity, I would say, to just have him maybe be a little more public and introduce himself. I mean, this is a guy who's from SanAntonio. Like, I don't know how we haven't heard more from him. But yeah, so I think a D. I mean, it just has not. Some of it also ties in with the game day experience. We'll get to that later. But yeah, it has not been the best start to the season on the front office front, and it's mostly kind of stuff at the top, it seems like.
So I'm gonna throw this little fun fact for y'all real quick, but before we continue. So in the supporter meeting that we had, he even says it himself. He doesn't do social media, and he doesn't do. He's not very. That I took from him. He's not very personable. So that's you can play it, take it as you will, but that's what we heard. From he's old
they counted
school.
the goal, so Royce
He's old
was wrong.
school.
No, the problem is he was offside. They just got the call wrong, but it's okay. Continue.
Royce or Rafa, you two are up.
I'll go since I'm yapping my trap over here about a game we're not even podcasting about. But as far as the front office, moreover, Ferruzzi, man, it's one of those you don't know what you got till it's gone things with Holt. Just how personable he was. That's not really part of the job title. You don't have to be there, but it would do him a lot of good if he were to kind of show some face, get to know some people, make a good impression. It would behoove him to do so. He doesn't have to. Absolutely not. That's, like I said, not in his job description. As far as getting the players here, we're seeing a new mix of players that we haven't seen before. And to be fair, the talent level of the players is there. they're just, for whatever reason, we haven't mingled. I think the only unfortunate thing that you could say about him is that a lot of the players that he signed have a history of injury. Lucho, Silva, a lot of players like that have history of injury. And you've kind of got to think about that. And it's the same thing. I'm not trying to compare being a professional soccer general manager with being a fantasy football team manager, but you also always have to remember to think about what players you're going to have to sit for their bye week. And at the same rate as an international soccer coach, you need to think about what players are going to have to go for an international break and not be available to you during games. So that's another thing to think about. I give Ferrucci so far a C. Not up, not down, just kind of in the middle. We'll see how the second half of the season goes. I like some of his signings. I like what he's done. He's really brought in a new flair of player, a new level of player. It just hasn't worked out yet. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes from here. Rafa?
What was your grade, Royce?
C, Charlie.
Rafa?
As far as, being a technical, like I said, the sporting director, you got, especially being you have to sell the program. You have to sell, you're the face. You have to get to know people and so forth. And that's what Tim Hope did a lot. And that's something what made, I guess, him very popular, with the team, because it was very approachable. He's seen maybe still stuck in his FC Dallas ways.
Panama scored. They're up 2-1 now. Bolivia missed a chance. Empty net got blocked, and Panama has converted it. So not only does USA need to come back and get a goal, they now have to get 2 goals.
So good job, Panama. But anyways, as far as with him, like I said, I know there's other issues too, and I think we haven't touched on this, is also rebuilding the academy. And the academy is also taken a hit, because of, Broccoli FC and players going up there. I know he was brought in to fix that. Now, I haven't seen the results on that. Maybe we're waiting to see as far as how we used to have a really good academy. Hopefully we do get some talented. Some of the academy players have gotten some first team plays. You can tell when they're playing on those games, they're still kind of green, but they're competitive. They hustle, so that's a good sign. But as far as the signings, I think Royce kind of mentioned also, you have to do your diligence as far as your research of your players. I think that was something where we're good at the last few years. Our scouts did a really good job bringing in players that fit us, that were complementary to the team. And I know we got a couple of gems. I like the Lavaca, Lavaca's, him signing. I think Blanco might be
La Cava.
Yeah. Lavaca, same thing. Blanco, I think he might be a steal. I think Harry, we talked about it. We saw a lot of good things on him. I think he's going to do really well with us. So I'm glad we got him. But then I question signings like Chol, and also Lacey. I just don't see them as great fits, on this team. And, the biggest thing for us, is we don't have a true number 9. And that's the thing. If you're going to lose Patino, you go find yourself a true number 9. And that's what's been hurting us this last few weeks. And I know Agudella's got his goals, but Agudella, I think he's playing out of position. I think he's better off coming from a bench because he has that experience. I don't think he has the stamina to really go the full 90. He can give you a good, maybe full speed, a good 30, 45 minutes. But we need a true number 9, and we don't have that. And then we're starting to, like I said, the last few weeks, there's opportunities that we could have tapped a lot of goals in, and we don't have that. We don't have that killer out there. So for my grade, as far as player personnel, according to him, I'm gonna give him a D minus.
Okay, moving right along.
Sorry.
So yeah,
So I was sorry, I forgot I had mute.
that helped.
Marcina and staff, he went with the C, doing their best with what's available to them due to injuries and international call-up. The amount of call-ups is pretty indicative of the quality of players they are recruiting and searching for. So Stuart went with the C for that here. We'll go back to you, Rafa, and then we'll go back the other way, Rafa, Royce, Matt, Jacek, and then me to end up, and then I'll start first with the players.
So being a coach, something you learn, over the years, you have to learn how to evolve. You cannot stay the same. If not, you're going to get figured out. And then I remember, learning from some of the coaches I worked with for my license and so forth. And that's something they stress on. You got to find a way to evolve your play and get better and not let them figure you out. And also complement, your systems of plays to your players' ability. And to me, the technical staff has not done that. Last year was the chink in the armor. Farcina got figured out by the USL. The whole direct play worked great when we won the title, but if you notice that last year, they figured us out. And we tried to change that, but it was a little too late. So we bring in a new system to play the possession. And if you were at that first preseason game, we saw a glimpse of it looked promising. And like, hey, you know what? This might work. We might have, the keys to do this. It's gonna pay dividends. This thing, we're coming to the technical staff. We have not improved each week. We've totally regressed. We're a lot worse than we were last year, as far as technical style, play, game planning. It's just not there, and that has to be fixed ASAP. If not, we're not going to make the playoffs. So for them, for the technical staff, I'm gonna give them a D minus as well.
Royce?
I mean, it's not a big secret. Marcina's my guy. For kind of like we've talked about, the injuries, the absences, for international duty, it's been really tough. And as a coach, we know Marcina in the past has really thrived in a kind of volatile lineup environment. But it's not the same this time around when it's not just kind of bunker and counter and press football. It's very much, possession worthy, where it's very important and very prudent that you get time on the field with each other as a team to really grow, to know where people are going to be in order to break down offenses or defenses. So it's really tough that way. His job has been really tough. I don't envy Marcina at all in this. It's been kind of a volatile season for him. At the same rate, man, we've had what? We've been up a man in 3 or 4 matches this season, and we've either drawn or lost all of them. That's tough. That's just kind of comes down to game plan and how to break down a team with one less guy than you, including this past Saturday, where it's not great. So I give Marcina a C so far. He, once again, it can turn around with a good second half, but we'll see.
Matt? Or Matt wants Jonathan to go next. Go, Jonathan.
All right. I not to steal some of you guys' stuff, but C feels about right to me. I think Marcina and the staff are doing all right for the hand they've been dealt, for dealing with the injuries, obviously some of the absences for international duty, which you always start the season, and if you've got Shannon Gomez, you're going to be missing him a few times throughout the year. You've got Kevin Lambert, he's probably going to be called in a few times, maybe potentially for Copa America, which is what has happened. And SAFC was lucky enough to get him back for one match, but yeah, at the same time, the flexibility maybe hasn't necessarily been there. And like Rafa mentioned, we saw in preseason against Antigua FC, that looked like a fairly promising stylistic change, and it hasn't really panned out as well in league play, perhaps partially because of the inconsistent lineups and availability and all that, but it just has not clicked as it should have. But yeah, so I don't want to give too much praise, but I also don't want to be too harsh, because a lot of the things that have held SAFC back haven't necessarily been completely within control of the coaching staff. On to Matt.
So, where do I begin? So after the last match, I decided to go up to one of the trainers, right? Me and Dylan put up the drum, and I see him picking up this everything, and I said, "Hey, bud, I'm just being a curious supporter. When are we gonna start like shrinking this IR list?" And he looks at me, he's like, "Can't tell you, buddy. We don't even know." That's something that I do not want to hear. When their own coaching staff doesn't know when this IR list is going to go down. I mean, like everyone else has said, they're trying to work with the cards they have been dealt with. I see the effort. I see. Yeah, they got a bunch of internationals. Kudos to them. It helps them out. But at the same time, right now, it's also hurting them due to everyone going out, Copa America, Euro League, everything that's going on. It is hurting a little bit. But at the same time, like how Rafa said, how Jonathan even said, you kind of got to progress, my guy. You're coming from a championship team. You went a step down last year. I'll give you that. Maybe a step and a half with everything going on towards the end. But I don't see that uphill. We're working hard. I see more of downhill. We're just riding the waves. And after the game, Alan got close enough to the bunker, and I blacked out. And they told me, I told them, how many fucking more are we going to be doing this? How many more fucking times is it a man down and we're not winning? How much what more do you need? And I even asked an executive that even was in the bunker, and I said, "Bro, we need people in the field. We need more people." And he's like, "You seem good. We should be fine." Like, come on, man. Well, I'm. It's like we're grabbing onto just the air because we don't know what else they can do. We're not doing these 25-day contracts like we used to, and I don't know if it's the disconnect between him and Ferruzzi, but someone needs to give. I know we have a tifo that says in Marcino we trust. I want to keep saying that, but it's like how I yelled. How many more times are we going to be like this? My grade, I want to be fair and give him a C- because he's playing with a hand that he doesn't seem comfortable with. So hopefully he can get a change.
So I can't believe you guys are, outside of Rafa, so soft on Coach Marcino. So 34 games. So last July 7th through this last game. SAFC is 12 wins, 12 draws, 11 losses. And if you look at the takeaways, the first 7 games on that, because they had won 6 games and lost 1. So the final 10 games of 2023, and this doesn't count the playoffs where they split 1-1. But the last 10 games, we saw the writing on the wall. 1 win, 7 draws, 2 losses. So we saw the writing at that point. 17 games in, so we went through the record here. So in the last 27 games, SanAntonio FC has 5 wins, 12 draws, 10 losses. You guys have all made excuses about the injuries. They've had injuries all the way through the championship run. So you can't really use injuries anymore. The call-ups, yes, that is an issue to the international call-ups. And you combine that with the injuries, but that comes to me where something just feels off. And Matt kind of hinted at it. Let's be honest, when there's a new sporting director, a new GM comes in and he doesn't bring in his coach, how long typically does the existing coach stay? And this is a results-oriented business. I love Coach Marcino. How he got fired with the Scorpions was bullshit. He deserved better. He built himself back up. He won us another title. I love the man. He's a great guy. And if you talk to him away from the game, incredible human. But this is a results-oriented business. 5 wins in 27 games for a club that has one of the highest payrolls in USL Championship, that has one of the best fan bases. How many times have we seen the team give up late goals? And we all give the excuses, hey, it was player X, it was player Y, along those lines here. If they do not beat Phoenix on Saturday, he's got to go. He has to go. If SanAntonio FC wants to make a run for the playoffs, because it's right there. Phoenix made a freaking change, and they're still in the playoffs. And the coach only had 17 games, but they said they didn't feel like they had a direction. For Coach Marcino, he was a controversial hire at the start. And Royce, I personally, I didn't mind it, but he came from in-house from under Darren Powell. Royce liked it. He had the experience. He knows SanAntonio. But when you bring in somebody new with the quality of Ferruzzi, he's going to want to put a stamp on his foot. And to me, the times that I looked over at Coach Marcino this week, from my personal views, this is just my personal views, he did not seem to have the same fire. It's almost like, and I know somebody that I don't really follow on Twitter posted, hey, the SAFC, is looking to possibly replace him. I don't know if that's fair or not. I do think that he has to win on Saturday. If not, to me, 6 losses, you're talking 28 games, 5 wins, 12 draws, would be 11 losses at that time. He has to go. And this is part of the reason why I also think he's got to go. I give the SAFC players a B+. I almost want to go an A. But the issue is there are some players that are underperforming, or they don't fit the system, or you just see sometimes where they're just kind of walking through the motion, some players. But then you got people like Tainer, and like it broke my heart when it went after the match, when he was just looking at the North stands. Just, you could tell he gave everything he had. And Mitch. But you could just see it just drained him. Like, he was like, what the fuck? How did we lose this game? How did we not convert this? So from the player aspect, the players are there. If the players are there, the coach has to put them in the position to win. You're not going to replace the players. We've got 17 games. Let's, if they can't turn it around, let's make a change. because this team does have the quality. San Antonio FC, Spurs Sports and Entertainment are putting it in the team. And I don't know if you were there or weren't there at Toyota Field on this week. It was an odd feeling. Even when they were up, it was just odd. It was a dead crowd. It was, and yes, it was hot, but it's an 8:00 kickoff. It's against a quality opponent. And, with New Mexico, who there's, fun rivalry with, like I said here, class organization with New Mexico. To me, like I said here, I go D for Coach Marcina. I go B+. I almost want to go A, but I can't give them a full A just because they haven't won along those lines here. Let me do Stuart. Stuart gave a C-. Hold on, where did I do it? That chat? Here it is. So players don't think he goes, don't think they are playing with as much heart as they used to. Some have grown either complacent or lost faith in the front office or coaching staff. I think those are fair points. I think you guys have hit it on that before. We'll go back to Matt and then Jonathan and then Royce or Rafa, however you guys want to toss it between the two of you.
Just like I said, I know what Harry saw in Mitch Tanner, because when he came to talk to Doc before they departed, because we didn't know if Doc was coming back next game because of Andrew going to Furman. But Mitchell came over, talked to Doc, and when he came over to the drum, he was like, you want me to bang the drum? I was like, bro, just relax, man. He was like, and he even said, I'm sorry we're not giving you the wins that we could. We should have won. These are Mitch's words. He wanted to bang the drum to give us energy, and we didn't have it. None of us had the energy because it just felt defeated. But you could tell in his eyes, he's saying, I am sorry. I'm trying. We are all trying. And it's probably like Rafa said, there's probably some players who are just being selfish. And I just wish you could you could feel the heart, their heartbeat playing on that field like it used to be. And right now, they don't know what they're trying to do. They don't know what they want, and that's how it feels. Just like Harry said, even being up, it was an eerie feeling of what's gonna happen. And I get it. Some of these guys are being hard on themselves too, trying to go through. But you have quality players, and I'll give it to it. You have quality players, minus all the bullshit talk that some of us do. They're quality. You wouldn't have picked them if we didn't trust them. For me, I would give them a B- too. I would give them a B- because they're there. You have the players. We just need to know, what do they need to keep going? What do they need to get that spark? Obviously, you can tell when they come say they're finally coming to the bunker and greeting us and saying, and they're literally coming to really just apologize. That's the crazy part. A lot of them are really just coming to apologize, and all of us are telling them, you're playing with your heart. You're playing like you're playing. You're good. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. We're trying to give some momentum, even though in the back of our mind we're like, the fuck are you doing, bro? These players, they have some heart. I just wish you could feel it on the field. I wish I could put it to the field. And what needs, like I said, what needs to be done, I wish I knew so I can give them that cheat code and get them to start playing.
Jay, check.
Yeah, so first of all, in regards to you kind of calling us out on our grades for the technical staff, I didn't realize that these, let's see, what does that say? Mid-season grades. I didn't realize we were doing the second half of last season too. Just going to throw that out there.
I'm
but
just
anyway,
adding it on, man. Just adding it on for that year. So
mid-season grades. I didn't realize the first half of this season also included the second half of 2023. But anyway, setting that aside, kind of like what you especially were saying, Harry, is the players aren't necessarily doing terribly. It's just they've had a lot asked of them, particularly in terms of the minutes, in terms of in some cases where they're playing. You know, Luke Hawkinson, for example, has played a few different roles already this year, and I think it was about a month ago I asked him kind of how he felt about being sort of that utility player, and you know, he kind of said, you know, it's a bit of a double-edged sword in a sense, because he can't just settle into one position, but at the same time it means, you know, he's got opportunities to play in multiple different roles. So that's just kind of an example. As far as a grade, I'll go ahead and give them, I think, a B minus, because there have been individual errors, there have been mistakes, but again, it's not entirely their fault. They're also kind of like the coaching staff working with what they've got. You know, both of them are kind of not they it's not ideal circumstances, obviously, and you can tell. And so the players show moments of what this could be, but a lot more often are showing moments of what we didn't really expect, what we didn't think could be happening this season. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm trying to keep my answers concise now, because we're at an hour and a half already.
Yes. United States got grouped. So Rafa, I know you're happy about that because they joined Mexico getting grouped. And what's your thoughts on SAFC players? And then we'll end up with Royce, because I know Royce probably needs a minute or two to hear what Lexi tells him to say, since he's a Mr. USA men's national team player.
As far as the players, so I'm gonna go down. I'm not gonna give grade for each position, but I'm gonna say this: goalkeeping, bigger improvement from last year. I'll give it that. We're not. I know a lot of people were crying about a certain goalkeeper that we used to have. They're not making the bonehead mistakes like they did last year. They're hustling, and I know one of them's hurt. So like I said, if we did player grades, he would have had it incomplete. But he's shown some really good decision making. So is our backup. So I have no complaints there. Our defense, I think, hasn't built the chemistry yet. I don't know, with the injuries, has played a part in it. But also, I think also we're not, they kind of get lost at times, misjudging things as far as with defending attacks. Our midfield, I think, is the biggest problem right now. We just don't have anybody that can complement Jorge Hernandez. I think Lambert's shown some flashes when he's played, but I think there's really I think more areas we can kind of build around him. And I think Zane mentions about Abu. I think Abu is really a good game manager. I think that's what we're hurting. We don't have a game manager that can kind of settle things or that can complement Jorge. Our forwards, give it a Agudelo. Yeah, he's got his goals, but I think he can do more. But he's just not a 90-minute, forward. He's not a true number 9, and I think that's what's hurting us there. But as far as overall player effort, we do see some gems, and we do see some hustle. There's just some, they're just not. You can tell they're either playing for themselves or they've already lost faith. So for me, at my grade, I'm gonna kind of end it real quick with it. I'm gonna give them a C-.
Which Hugo probably agrees with you. He says she's too nice with the players. Agudelo has been dry. He scores every 4 matches on average. Pablo Cisanega, awful kid mistakes. Kendall, lots of rebounds to the middle. Mitch always playing condition due to yellows. And I have a feeling of a diva as face of the SAFC. Hernandez don't have the same spark. The new guys will need to give them a little bit more time. Mulatto, 2 shots on goal with 0 goals. The defense have scored more goals than all of our forwards combined. No midfield in there has in their Mebin. I don't know if I agree with all that, but fair take from Hugo on there for that here. Royce, finish it up, and then I'm sure we'll get to the everybody's straight A's and game day experience.
So as far as the players are concerned, I completely agree with Rafa. Goalkeeping is 100% turned around. It's been a big improvement. Defense, compared to last year, I think it is a little better, actually. The back line, I think, is improved. The issues we're having is on our wings. We're getting killed on the wings, and that's because we're trying to generate offense through the wings. And at the same rate, we're also trying to support our midfield through the wings, and that's keeping space between our wing backs and the back line. So that's where we're getting annihilated, is kind of in that zone 14 right there in front of the box between the midfield line and our box. We're getting killed in that area, and we're getting killed on the flanks of our box. That's where our problem areas are. Our midfield it just hasn't been good. It hasn't been good enough, and that's due to availability. That's due to injury. That's due to international duty. So that hasn't been great. That's kind of why I gave Brucey the C, is that kind of comes with roster build. Man, it's been disappointing. That's been the most disappointing part. The forward play hasn't been great, but goals are there. Our play is improving up front as well with Lacava. He's really turned that around and really playing well through Hernandez and letting Agudelo run free. Agudelo thinks he's going to have a strong second half of the season with Lacava as a strike partner and Hernandez feeding them the ball. I think that's going to be really nice. We really need to figure out this midfield situation. That is our biggest bugaboo, our biggest weakness. We got to figure it out. The players that have been available, that have been on the field, that have played, B+. They haven't been perfect. There's been mistakes. That's to be expected. Their effort is there for the most part. And we're also very unlucky. We've been really unlucky this season. So still a chance to turn around, still a chance to learn from those mistakes. And that's the biggest thing, is it's not about making mistakes. It's about learning from them. So hopefully in the second half of the season, we turn around and we really show what we're all about.
All right, so we're going to do the game day experience. I want to end with Matt and Rafa on this because they do they're leaders of FTC. But I'm going to start with Stewart's through there, and then I'll do mine, and then Royce, Jonathan, you guys can flip a coin, whoever wants to go next. So I asked Stewart, he gave me a -100, so I put an F-. He was like, when was the last time this place sold out for a regular season match? From the surprise charges for parking, the seemingly killing of the tailgates, and the supporter culture, further lack of transparency from them, to other outrageous security crackdowns, the continuous missteps by this organization are staggering. So that is from the leader of 210 Alliance, who has been a leader of them for several years. I also gave them a nice fun grade of an F for it here. I guess you could do F- for it here. To me, where to start? My question is, SAFC trying to drive season ticket members from renewing, drive them away. No flags in the bunkers, or no flags except in the bunker. Yet Jonathan can attest to this because we saw his parents, Mike and Jenny Check, go to every other stadium that they've been to, have been able to take their SanAntonio FC flags in to away stadiums and no issues. But here at Toyota Field, it's an issue. The Jumbotron. How many screens have to be broken before you fucking fix it? And then the key thing here, and I know we're long, so I'm going to keep this kind of short here. The deception on the parking and not giving a damn that it is killing the tailgate by the supporters groups. The Crocketeers, 210 Alliance, Bear County Casuals, Mission City 118, and FTC, all of their work for the last 10, 12 years is being destroyed, and San Antonio FC doesn't give a damn about it right now. That's how I feel. I've been a season ticket member since day one of the Scorpions. And I don't feel at this time that San Antonio FC gives a damn about us. And it pisses me off because this is 6 years? I think with San Antonio FC, somewhere around there. They've
9.
been good.
This is the 9th season.
Or 9th season. 9th season. They've been good. What the fuck happened this year? What changed? And we've heard all the excuses. It's Spur Sports and Entertainment trying to make Toyota Field, AT&T Stadium. I think that's what it's called, or whatever, Victory Capital, whatever it is now for that. But that's a bullshit excuse. If those are in charge of Toyota Field wanted to make it more friendly, you could. And at this time, I wonder if the leadership at Toyota Field is still the right person for this organization. I'm not going to call out by name because I don't know, I'm not going to go all personal, but whoever the leadership, and I'm talking about the entire leadership, you're losing your fans. The perception is you don't give a fuck. And I'm sorry for the language, but this is how I feel. My season ticket member representative called me. My season ticket member representative emailed me. For the first time ever, I have not responded to him because I don't have anything nice to say. And it's not fair for me to take it out on him because he's doing everything he can. The players on the field are doing everything that they can. And I believe the front office, as far as for the technical side, Alan Marcina is doing what he can. Now, I disagree with some of the stuff that he's done, but the biggest issue for San Antonio FC is they can't fucking get out of their way when it comes to game day experience. When you have the owner of New Mexico United always, when he's in town, make an appearance at the tailgate, but yet you can't get a fucking San Antonio FC player. Marco hasn't ever been to the fucking tailgates, to my knowledge. What are we doing? I don't understand. It's. I give up. Like I said, I've said my piece. Whoever wants to go next can go next because I knew I was going to go off. I wrote it out just so that way I had my points because I knew we were going to be long. Go ahead, but I'm so pissed off and frustrated right now.
Man, Harry got so angry that he thinks they want to turn Toyota Field into a 100,000 seat football and multi-use.
I know, Victory Capital. You mean the Frost Bank Center? What are we doing?
Yeah, whatever the fuck it's called, dude. It just
that's how you know Harry's angry because it's emotion, not it makes it hard to recall some of these things. I'll go ahead and step in, and you kind of started to allude to it there, Harry, but as much as we've talked tonight about things on the field and how they are not quite going well, I still think the biggest disappointment of this season, the biggest discontent, is with this game day experience, with all the off the field stuff. And I've told you guys and I've told others that if things were going right on the field, maybe we'd even be overlooking this. But it's kind of like the on the field stuff you can't always necessarily control. Not every team can win every match and all that. But this, what happens on game day off the field, that's well within your control. And instituting the parking for the first time after 8 years, doing it, announcing it a few days before the start of the season, that's not great. Having it as high as you did, and then also having hidden fees that you didn't advertise at first, that's not a great look. I can tell you because I'm at pretty much every tailgate. It's sparse. It feels kind of dead. And thankfully there are still people with the supporter groups, like Matt, like James with the Crocketeers, people who show up to help cook and all that. There are still some people putting in the work, and this, I credit them for continuing to do it despite how dreary things are right now, both on and off the field. But then Harry also alluded to the flags, and it almost seems like SAFC is trying to really sterilize game days, and I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know why they're doing it. But if you keep it up, you're gonna drive away a lot of fans. And I mean, maybe you bring in new ones that will be tamer and align with your vision, but it's not going to be a good look for everyone who leaves, and for other teams saying, well, what happened to all of your devoted fans? Where did they go? They can talk to Harry, they can talk to my parents, for example, like, why aren't you as enthusiastic anymore? Where are you at? And they'll just have to say, you know what, SAFC was making one choice after another that really just kind of ruined it for us. So we had 8 years where things, there were bumps along the way, but for the most part, it was pretty smooth for the first 8 years. And now all of a sudden, particularly with this game day experience, things have really gone south, and they've gotten sour, honestly. So I've said all this. I still have not given a grade. Like I said, there are a few bright spots, so I'm gonna give not bright spots, but people who are still trying to make this work, who want it to be decent still. So I am going to be generous and give them a D-. You passed.
And I just want to say something, because I did go really hard, and I believe this goes for all of us. None of this is about the season ticket representatives, the sales team, the security team, the individuals that are actually working security. This isn't about them. This is about the process. This is about
policy.
Rules,
this is about
policy. So this isn't I want to make this very clear, because I know I went way, way, way over the line, for what some people are going to consider. This is not an attack at the SAFC, season ticket member staff, the sales staff, the people that work concessions, the beer stands, the security. This is not an attack at them, because they're doing their job and they do a great job. But this is to me, what we're talking about is just the policies, the what you have set up in place for this year. I just want to make sure that's clear before we continue to go, because I did attack the entire Toyota Field setup.
All right, I guess I'll go next. And very much in the same vein as Harry, an absolute F. And it's for new policies that don't make any damn sense. I had to go back. I had to turn around as we were walking in the gate for one of the matches, because the megaphone my kid brings in, it is a Texas Lottery megaphone. That, where did we get it? Toyota Field, as one of the first 1,000 fans in the stadium, got a Texas Lottery megaphone. It is very small. It's not even a foot long, maybe 8 or 9 inches, not long, very small. It's blue, not a big thing. My kid yells in it. He's 6. How loud is a 6-year-old going to be? Oh, you got to turn around. That's a noisemaker. We can't allow that. I got this at the damn stadium. What the hell are you talking about? And the same thing goes with the flag. You can buy the flags. Can't take them in the damn stadium. What is that? What kind of nonsensical policy is that? That you can get something at the stadium, you can't take it. You can't take it in. And it's not a cup. It's not a cup that you're going to go refill with drinks or anything that, you're any semblance of that. It is a quote unquote noisemaker. Something I got from the damn thing. If I take a donation this weekend, by the way, here's a plug. If I take a donation of Tide Pods to donate to HEB, so I get one of their cooling towels, will they not allow me to bring that shit back in because I got it at the stadium and that's against policy to bring your shit back in? That's fucking stupid. I'm going to also go get pissed off because it's dumb. It's stupid policies. It's not good policy. The team is playing their ass off. Coach Marcin is coaching his ass off with what he has available. The product on the field, I'm not mad at. The product on the field is doing what they can do, and it's a transition season. It is what it is, but with transition season, you can get lucky and you can win the whole damn thing. We can get hot and win it all. What I'm pissed off about is the game day experience, and it sucks. It sucks right now. It sucks shit. And I completely agree with Harry and how he went hard. It's nonsensical. It's stupid that I can get something as a giveaway, as an incentive for being one of the first fans in the stadium, but you can't take that shit back in the stadium and it's banned. No sense. No sense at all. Absolute F. Just stupidity. Pure stupidity. And it also goes along with the tailgate. Killing the tailgate by trying to charge people. And it's not even charging people $5 to park. It's not even charging people, just a little bit. Oh, you can add on to your supporters ticket. You can add on another, I don't know, we go to 20 matches. Do $100 for parking. Sure. $100 for parking for the season, $5 a game. I don't think anybody would be offended by that. $15 a game plus fees. What the shit are you talking about? Stupid. And to spring it on right before the season starts with no plan, hey, we're going to release this. We've thought about this. We just can't do this anymore. No, just dumb. Just half-brained, quick decisions with zero thought put into them that they really need to have a review. They need to have a review now. We're halfway through the season. Have a review of how things are going. Listen to your fans. Have some sort of meeting with the fans or the supporters groups where there's a town hall to where people can ask questions on how things are going, and everybody lets you know this sucks. We are part of this community. The team isn't anything without us paying for tickets and to help support. Just listen. We're not happy about this. The team, completely different thing. The organization and what's happening on the field and to the fans, stupid. We're not happy about it. Rafa, you're next.
Oh, where do I start? I gotta say this. We're watching football. We're watching soccer. We're watching soccer matches. The whole stadium's been basically neutered by this stupid policy. If you watch Copa America, you watch the European Championship, you watch Champions League, you watch Liga MX, MLS, or the other El Paso, the other teams of the USL, they have a soccer environment in their stadium. We are not the Frost Bank Center. So the people who are neutering this, you're neutering the wrong sport. Watch some soccer games for once and see how the fan atmosphere is in the stadium. Maybe we have all that stuff. Like I said, maybe we'll motivate our players to play a lot harder. Motivate our coach. It's just flat out ridiculous, that we've now become the laughing stock of the USL when it comes to fan experience. And as far as with the tailgates, trying to be sneaky, lying, and then trying to throw kind of the groups under the bus, that's, what do they showed they basically showed the true colors on that. And that's not the way to do things. There's ways to compromise things. If you're like Royce mentioned about, you want to pay for $5 parking, hey, that's reasonable. $15 is and plus hidden fees. I think that's ridiculous. Or that, because like I said, you're still paying for, meals and, paying for drinks, and especially if you're bringing a family, it does get pricey. And then killing the tailgates. That's the whole experience. Like, if you've seen the tailgates the last few years, it's very lively. It's fun. Everyone's having a good time. It's basically become dull. It's and that's none of the faults of the three supporter groups. If you really want to kill this team off, sell it to somebody else. Sell it to somebody that wants to actually have create a real soccer experience. To see the owner at New Mexico FC there have at the tailgates. It'd be fun to have see our own people there, but we don't get to see that. So as far as like overall soccer experience, here's my grade right here. I give it 2 Fs right here. That's my grade. And if you don't like it, you can come find me at 114. And for all the fans out there, I've read the comments. A lot of people want about canceling their season tickets. It's gonna happen. And nothing about our season ticket people. They do a great job. I have kudos for them. Also for the security staff, like Harry mentioned. But if you read your comments on Instagram, read your comments on Facebook, read your comments on X. The fans you're really turning the fans off. And you're not, and if you're worried about certain groups turning fans away, well, you're doing it yourself. And next year you might not have a lot of supporter groups. I'll guarantee you that. And so that's all I got to say, and I'll leave it at Matt here.
Where do you want me to begin? How are we going to open up this Pandora box? Because I'll give you everything on the line. You call up a quick meeting to say, hey, we're charging for parking, but we're going to let y'all delegate it. Okay, so we're the blame. Strike 1 for me. Strike 2, you're killing my tailgates. You're killing our tailgates. FTC and 210 are both, we don't drive memberships. Not trying to sell ourselves, but we don't drive memberships. On the other hand, we have the Crocketeers who do, which I'm proud of them. They get to have funding. We don't. We feed off of what little tips that we can get. There's nobody going to the damn tailgate. So what are we trying to recycle? Strike 3, flags. Where's my soccer culture? Where's that soccer culture inside there? And my 4th one, you can't even be personable with anyone in the supporter group anymore. You have to drag out and get in, just personalize who do we need to get in trouble? Who do we need to blame for ourselves? Right? And like I said, and like Harry said, like Rafa said, like all these guys have said, this isn't towards security. This isn't towards our STM reps, and it's definitely not towards the STM rep managers. Okay? Why aren't we getting a connection with the fans? That's the number one reason why I got Dynamo tickets. They connect with their fans, and Royce can get mad at me for saying that, and it's okay with that. I'm fine with it. I want connections with my team. I want to feel like we're something important. Honest to God, when I tweeted out, there's no fucking way I was going to go to that game last night. Was it last night? Yes, the night before. There is no fucking way I was supposed to go. I didn't want to go because because of everything that's been going on. The tailgate vibes are going down. The atmosphere in the stadium, it just doesn't feel right. This is not what I signed up for back in 2016. And to tell you, soccer wasn't my first sport. It was fucking golf. Golf, like, there's not that much action in golf. But I chose soccer because I got to finally come out, be able to drive myself to go see a team. I couldn't do that with the Scorpions, and I'm gonna make all seem old. I was still in school at the time. My parents couldn't afford it. I'm purchasing my season tickets. I'm purchasing an additional one because my brother's coming with me. To feel every damn time leaving that fucking field. Are we worth it? Are we something? Because right now, I feel like shit. I don't even fucking want to go. But I push and push and push myself that we're going to do a tailgate. We've all been talking about the 6th. It's July 4th. We should have a tailgate to cherish July 4th. And as I look right now, we're going to do it. We're going to have a tailgate. But this tailgate marks what's going to happen going forward. Or are we going to do closed tailgates, close it off from the public to where it's just, I'm just cooking for the guys and that's it? Do better. Do better. Security, I was promised, and this is just me personally. I was promised to keep my security in the bunker so that way there's nothing can go wrong. Why the fuck are they trying to pick on me? And why the fuck are they trying to start fights with me? This is absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. And I'm sick and tired of feeling, is it worth going to a game? I love those guys on the field with the shirt off my back. I probably would do anything just to see them succeed. But show that y'all love us. And I'm thankful that they start coming to the bunker. I'm so thankful. But come on, I need to feel like these supporter groups are doing something for y'all. I need to feel like the tailgates are helping build this atmosphere. And even from word of mouth, people are coming 30 minutes prior to game start because there's no point in going to the bunker to pay $15 plus more. And then to be told that the 15 is going to get $2 towards the SGs, which we don't even want to touch because then we wouldn't be considered independent anymore. The only reason we're going to touch it is either to fix the tailgate area or to get a bus to go to an away game, which God knows when we would want to do that. Because at this point right now, I'm ready to just cut ties from everything that's been going on. I have to drag myself out of bed just to go to a game now. All I got to say is start looking at your fans. Do better. Do better, because if not, you will be losing fans this year. And I promise you're going to lose fans this year because of everything that's been going on.
So I'm going to wrap it up, but there is one thing that I do want to highlight here, and that is the San Antonio Athenians, who's the hat that I've been wearing here. Went to their game last Wednesday. Their final game got canceled for whatever reason, and they awarded the points for it. But San Antonio Athenians, if you can, please stay at UTSA Soccer Stadium. Being on that side, the environment was so much better in the shade. It was a fun experience. The team, like I said, in their first year of the USL W League, 4 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw, plus 2 goal difference. AHFC Royals out of Houston was the class of it, but they were competitive with Challenge, Lone Star through there, and it was through there. So if you can, next year, and I believe it's the Grove that is the supporters group for the Athenians. Follow them on X, and then they're probably on other things as well here, Instagram and stuff. But like I said, their season ended, but I did want to give them a shout out here. We will be resuming regular scheduled programs. Either me or Royce will be driving the bus here going forward to go back to weekly shows for it here. Part of the reason why I took off was just my kind of what Matt was going through with just not happy with San Antonio FC with an experience that I had. I backed away from it here. But I love going to the games. I love the team, and I love hanging out with the family, with these guys here, with the guys that go to the tailgate, with the guys from the Copatejas, the FTC 210, just fans in the stadium. It's a family, and like I said here, it's depressing that it came to this tonight. We're already at 2 hours in. If anybody has any fun, I'll toss it to Royce just to kind of talk about U.S. men's national team getting grouped. And the question to him: Berhalter in or out? I think he stays. But Royce, if you'll give the little comment about U.S. men's national team getting grouped, and then get us out of here. And thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Rafa. Thank you, Stuart. And from Grouchy Harry, that's it for me. Royce, if you'll close us out and say whatever you want about the U.S. men's national team not progressing in the Copa America.
I mean, we'll see. And Coach Cano, Eagle Eye Coach Cano realizes that whenever any of our cameras are off, it automatically goes to Rafa's beautiful mug. That's just kind of the default. My camera's off because my firmware right now just gave me a warning that my camera is not connected to my computer, so I need to update. So big surprise there. Anyway, as far as the U.S. men's national team's concerned, I think they would do themselves a service if they were to last year hired a new coach. Especially now there's a lot of free agents available. But kind of what happened was the federation went up to the players, and this is from what I understand and pretty obvious what happened. The federation went to the players and asked, do you still want Greg to be your coach, or do you want us to look outside? And one of the candidates that they supposedly talked to was Jesse Marsh, who has had some choice words about the federation and how they treated him through that process. So they were obviously looking for a different coach. All the players decidedly and resoundingly said, we still want to play for Berhalter. So there's not a new coach coming. To be fair to Coach Berhalter and the USMNT performance, that red card against Panama that Timmy Weah got is completely, it's inexcusable. Like that, you put your team behind the 8 ball just with that. You can't do that in a tournament. You got to learn from that. I'm happy it didn't happen in the World Cup, but you can't do that. Really let your team down on that one. They went toe-to-toe today with Uruguay. Uruguay scored an offside goal off a set piece. I'm sure everyone's going to see the picture. It's an offside goal. Pretty poor call. The ref did not have a good control of the game. Tyler Adams got stepped on, got cleated, and he earned a yellow card out of the challenge. So it was great. It's just one of those things. You have to outplay as bad as the ref is, but the ref was bad. Also, here's a fun one. That same referee was apparently investigated. His name's Kevin Ortega. He was investigated in 2022, so 2 years ago. He awarded a penalty to Boca Juniors, and after the game, the Bolivian police searched the ref's booth and seized several Boca Junior shirts that was given to the referee group after the match. So there you go. And that was in a Coleman Bowl. What's their Champions League? So
yeah,
thank you, Libertadores. That's it.
It sounds like the Barca refs too.
I mean, that's why Real Madrid keeps winning, is because the Barca refs are completely against Barcelona. Look what you're saying. Look at yourself in the mirror, Rafa. Anyway, the dude has a history of being corrupt. I'm not saying this is a corrupt match, but he was way in over his head, and it was a garbage, terrible.
We have to give Rafa credit, dude. It took him 128 minutes before he got Real Madrid in.
If he would have gotten through the whole match, if he would have gotten through the whole podcast, I would have given him credit. 0 credit. Just like the on the field product, he gets 2 Fs for this show. Congratulations, Rafa, for earning 2 Fs. That is, that's a bad performance. Anyway, it's been over 2 hours. What are we talking about? I hope you're still listening. Thank you for joining us on our complaint fest. There's nowhere to go but up. Here's to a strong second half of the season.
It could be El Paso. Don't say you can't go any lower.
To the SAFC players, if you are listening, we're behind you 100%.
100%.
We'll be with you. We'll be with you until that day comes where we physically can't be there. But
Forever
man,
loyal.
here's to a better second half. A tough first half doesn't mean it's going to be a tough second half. Let's make it count. Let's get in there and let's make the playoffs and let's make a run at this thing. Rafa, you wanted to say something real quick?
Yeah, for all the ones that are watching, share your comments with us. We love to hear what you guys had to say about this. When we hear your takes, I think the more people voice their opinions about it, hey, they're gonna have to listen. So, and also they also listen with your wallet. So, so we love to hear what your guys' opinions out there.
Hey, even at that, start filling out the surveys if you really want them to hear your voice.
Surveys. They read the emails, believe it or not. They read the emails. Send those emails in if you're dissatisfied. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Here's to a better second half. Second half starts on Saturday against Phoenix. Let's go at SAFC. I mean, what am I going to say? What's life without goals? Good night.
We out.